All right, Ross Taylor says, do you have a guide on, Ross Taylor on YouTube says, do you have a guide on buying a used car in New Zealand? I'm thinking of traveling and possibly buying a used car. What manufacturer is reliable with good gas mileage? Thanks. All right, Ross. So yes, we do have guides on all of that actually on BackpackerGuide.NZ. So if you go on www.backpackerguide.nz and then you're going to click on travel tips, then click on transportation, and then buying a car/camper. And there is tons of articles that we have compiled about that because a lot of people decide to do that. But we're going to give you a few tips right now. So the first thing that you're asking is, what kind of cars are more like popular, let's say, for backpackers that want to buy a car and travel around New Zealand? So there is quite a bunch of different cars that you can get. So the first thing is like a camper car, which is kind of just a people mover, let's say, that you will fit with a bed.
Yes, exactly, yeah. And one of the most popular manufacturers for these types of camper cars is Toyota, and more specifically Toyota Estima. There are Toyota Estimas all over New Zealand. So the good thing about that is if you do get that type of brand, you do know if you are ever going to need new parts for it, for example, that's going to be very easy and cheap to source. And yeah, that is the most common type of sort of camper car that you can find in New Zealand. So so that's always a good one to rely on. And Toyota in general is very popular in New Zealand, so that's probably we would recommend. Yeah,
so you can also go with the Honda Odyssey. It's a very popular right here as well. You know, the years range all over the place, you know, from 1997 to 2003, they're usually quite cheap. Toyota Estima is about like up to 2010, for example. That's what you're going to find. Then after, you have a different type of camper van, which is slightly bit bigger, and where you're going to have much more space for yours to be able to actually just fit in it and fit more of your stuff as well, which is quite good. And that kind of more of a small size camper van. So it's a non-self-contained camper van. It's basically usually it's about 12 seaters or something like that, right? And that's more like a Toyota Hiace.
Yeah, Hiace is also a very popular brand type, and again, it's another Toyota. So yeah, we're just going to keep on going on about Toyotas because they are the most abundant type, and yeah, they're usually the type of car that has already been done up as a camper van, like someone's already what's the word? Converted into a camper van. So yeah, that's always a good choice to go for as well. If you also want to be able to get cheap parts just in case it's the worst happens, which we're not going to say happens all the time, but you know,
it does happen often because you tend to have slightly bit older vehicles. So that's why we kind of recommend those kind of brands. I mean, we usually recommend what there are the most of, because like that, for maintenance, it's so much easier for you to be able to actually be on the road and actually stay on the road, Ross. So I think it's quite important. Another model for those kind of like slightly bit bigger kind of van is the Nissan Vanette. There is really a lot everywhere, and that's because it used to be the post office van. So you know, when the post office kind of upgraded to the next stuff, like they kind of sold all of those, and that's how it went. And now they have the newest Toyota Hiace. So if you're watching this video 5 years down the line, well, Toyota Hiace, get back on top, and here you go.
And you'll also see that most of the rental car companies use either Toyota Hiace or the Nissan Vanette for their own vehicles as well. So you kind of know if the rental car companies are using those models. Usually it means they kind of think they're reliable as well.
And then the last type of camper van that you can get in New Zealand is those big RVs. So you can find them like all type of ages. You can find RVs which are older than you, which we did. And if you watched our video of New Zealand's biggest gap year, just you'd see that it didn't work so well.
But we wouldn't recommend getting a vehicle that is older than yourself.
Learn from us, learn from our mistakes. So yeah, don't do that. But there are some RVs, and you can get those for, you know, around the $10,000 mark. It sounds like a lot of money, but they're really easy to sell back as well. So, you know, you may be able to get about the same amount of money that you put in or ish. while usually with those Toyota Hiace or even Toyota Estima, like the smaller one, usually you will be losing, you will still be losing some money when selling it back. So you've got to have that, you keep that in mind basically when you make your choice. Now, the first thing you have to do is, now then you want to buy cars, right? So the first thing you need to do to buy cars is to actually head onto our website. We have heaps of articles about how to buy cars in New Zealand, and we give you all the tips. Do not get scammed. We learned it the hard way. We learned from you guys sending us a lot of feedback and say, hey, listen, I bought a car. This is the problem that I had. And we compile like 8 or 10 years of experience just right here on the website. So please read our advices. You're about to spend a lot of money on buying something which is very old. So make sure that you do it the right way. Make sure you don't cheap out and you do all those car inspections that we advise you to do and all those kind of things. So I was actually counting while I was chatting, and we actually have 14 articles about buying a car in New Zealand. So we really got you covered with everything explained in many different ways.
Yeah.
So make sure that you do this research and you head to the website. So again, you go on BackpackerGuide.NZ, then you go under travel tips, then transportation, and then buying a car for New Zealand. So yeah, and if you do have questions of your own in a live chat, if you're watching that live, in the comments, if you're watching a rerun of this, and we'll get back to it next time. And like and subscribe just to support us because we're awesome, right? All right, I hope that answered your question, Ross. If you do have any more, just say hi.